Awesome, awesome. So welcome everybody. My name is Manjri Agarwal. I am a career advisor at the USC Career Center, and we're hosting our second annual virtual financial literacy conference this week. And today, Ryan will be doing the session. So with that being said, go ahead and take it away, Ryan.
Hey, fantastic. Thank you very much and welcome everybody. Very excited to be kicking off the Career Center's Financial Literacy Conference today. And let me just get my screen up and running here. There we go. Fantastic. So this morning we're going to be discussing budgeting. It's probably one of the most important items regarding your financial success, and an item which you're going to be continually focusing on through the life cycles all the way through your life here. So very important. This is probably the key cornerstone in regards to your financial success. So let's jump into it, and lots of great information here for you. So first one, basically, great question for you. Why should I have a budget? Well, have you ever run out of money before the end of the month? Well, I know I have. And if you haven't, well, it will just likely be a matter of time, because life is full of surprises and we truly need to have a budget to determine where our money is going. It's just extremely important to know our monthly income, our expenses, and to create that budget. So instead of wondering at the end of the month where all our money went and combing through trying to find some nickels and dimes here for all the additional expenses that we have, we truly want to have a plan in place so that we can tackle all these items across the board. So truly, why should we have a budget? Well, knowing where your money is going can provide you with a sense of empowerment and truly help you achieve your financial goals. And that's what it's all about in regards to a budget, allowing and helping you achieve those financial goals. We all have a number of them. So really, we want to utilize that budget to help us achieve them and help us focus in on those goals. You're going to have a number of financial goals, and they can range from really any item that you have yourself. But noting some of the large purchases that you're going to have through your life cycle stages, this budget is, or any budget really, is going to help you prioritize and achieve those. Some of the large purchases that you're going to be looking at over the number of years here is, basically a car. Most people on average can own up to 8 cars during their lifetime. So continually saving and having a down payment for that auto loan there. In regards to new homes, typically on average, people have about 3 homes throughout their lifetime. So making sure that you can continue to save for the down payment and the costs in regards to home ownership. Also in regards to paying for university and saving for retirement. These are just some of the major goals right off the bat, but you may have a whole bunch of additional ones in addition to this. So really, a budget is going to help us reveal the waste, that we know where our money is going. It's going to provide us some direction. It's going to help educate us and really tell us where our money is going, which sometimes can be quite a surprise, because I'm sure all of you know, utilizing your debit card can work very quickly during the day, and money can just run out of your accounts. Also really important here in regards to a budget, it's going to create new habits. This is going to allow you, as I mentioned, to focus on your priorities of your financial goals and making sure that they are achievable. And that's what the name of the game is there. And then, of course, a budget is going to reduce your stress and provide you a feeling of empowerment, really knowing what's going on, having a game plan at the beginning, the middle, the end of the month, and continually doing this to make sure that you know where your funds are going. So in regards to kind of the first step that we want to look at in regards to kind of budgeting, step number 1 is calculating our income, truly defining how much we have on a monthly basis. So in regards to a couple items in which you can be paid in regards to your frequency. Oops, let me just go back there. I'm just trying to move my camera around here. So you can be paid weekly. If you're paid weekly, you want to make sure that you're taking your weekly income, you're timesing it by 52 and then dividing it by 12 to really come out with what your monthly income is. In regards to a bi-weekly pay schedule, you want to multiply your pay by 26 and then divide by 12 in regards to getting to your monthly income. And then if you have inconsistent pay, and it's not on that scheduled basis, really take a look at what your last year's total income was and divide it by 12 to figure out what your average is. But then also look at where the seasonality range was of your pay if it is on an inconsistent basis. If you're paid on a monthly basis, pretty easy to determine what that's going to be at the beginning or at the end of the month. But really want to take a look at, calculating your income on that monthly basis so you exactly know what's coming in the door for you. Now, also when talking about income, wanting to make sure that you have set up direct deposit so that you can access your funds right away once you're paid instead of receiving a check. With a check, you're going to have to make, whether it's a mobile deposit or a deposit at the ATM machine or in the branch. And as well, in regards to a check, there may be a hold on that. So a direct deposit is the best feature as it's going directly from your employer directly into your bank account, in which you can then utilize those funds for your budget right away. Next one here, and probably the largest one where you're going to be focusing all your time on, is calculating your expenses. And really here we have a whole bunch of categories, and you really want to be very specific in regards to your spending categories and try to account for every dollar that you have. So some of the categories that we have here are housing. That's going to include your rent, your utilities, internet, cable, phone, and even more items there depending on your own situation. In regards to food, you're looking at your groceries, your household supplies, meals out, and once again, etc. And that was really going to be the key for all these categories. Transportation, you're looking at whether it's your Metro Pass, a car payment. If it's a car, then you got to add gas, car maintenance on top of that, registration fees, and then as well, when we're looking at our personal expenses, clothing, entertainment, subscriptions, health and beauty, and then of course, other. And what we really truly want to be aware of when calculating these categories are what bills and expenses are fixed and which are variable, because that will throw you for a loop on seasonality month by month, depending on where we are. And I can speak to one specifically from my own personal experience in regards to utility bills, was air conditioning. And when I first moved down to Los Angeles, didn't even kind of think about it. Moved down during the winter months, never utilized it. Well, when summer came, all of a sudden I was thinking, oh, aircon is there, let's throw it on. Well, I didn't realize for the first month when I was running that pretty much nonstop that my bill went into the hundreds of dollars there. And I just had not expected that in any capacity. So truly be aware of what those variable bills are and what the seasonality of that is. And then work out an average of truly what that bill is going to cost you on a monthly basis, making sure during the high seasonality periods, you have those funds available. And then during the low, that you've made those funds available to cover the high times there. So truly be aware of that. Another item right now that we're seeing out in the marketplace right now is gas. That has gone it's gone quite a bit up there. So that has, for my own budgeting purposes, really made me look at my car in regards to, well, with that price of gas, when should I be using it and when should I not? If I can ride my bike, save money of some gas in regards to running some errands right now with the price of gas, I will definitely be doing so. So really break down your expenses in regards to all these different categories and truly break out which are fixed bills, which are variable bills. And then once we kind of get to calculating our income, calculating our expenses, and truly breaking all of that out, we're going to be left with either a budget surplus or a deficit. In regards to our surplus, that's going to be pretty easy. We're going to be in the positive. We're going to have additional funds left over, and that we can then kind of rearrange in our budget to adding more to our financial goals or any additional items that we hadn't accounted for and unexpectedly popped up during the month, because that will happen from month over month. Life is life and it's full of surprises. So truly be aware of that. In regards to your expenses, well, actually, I should mention in regards to your expenses being greater than your income, and a deficit is then produced by your budget here. It's pretty much back to the drawing board to kind of rejig our budget to determine what we can bring down in regards to our expenses. Truly be aware of overspending. That's probably where we all get into the most trouble in regards to our budgeting. And then really looking where we can cut back on some of the wants that we have within our budget, and then even limiting some of our needs. And we're going to talk about how to kind of where we should be spending our money in the next little bit here. But really key is not every month is the same. As I mentioned, life is life and it is full of surprises. So truly be aware of that. Your budget is a continuous exercise, basically at the beginning of the month, at the middle of the month, at the end of the month, and just repeating itself over and over again, because we truly want to know where our money is going and making sure that we have it going to the right place and to all the financial goals that we have in place for ourselves. As I mentioned earlier, owning cars, home ownership, any additional items that you may have on a personal basis, paying for college, and most importantly, saving for retirement. So really important that we determine whether we're in a budget or a surplus, a surplus or a deficit, and then making our amendments in regards to our budget and going from there for it. Now, really here in regards to how do I decide what to spend my money on? Well, that can be pretty easy out there in today's marketplace, but really in regards to creating a budget, it's important in regards to really distinguishing between your wants and your needs. A need is basically something that is truly necessary to live on, what you really need to have on a month-by-month basis here. And then your wants are basically something that makes, life more comfortable and enjoyable, something that you could actually do without, and really look to possibly eliminate those small amounts in your spending day to day, because they can truly break your budget. A great example is looking at, a $5 cup of coffee every day. If you had that basically every day, every week, and had that over an entire year, your $5 cup of coffee can easily equal up to $1,200 on an annual basis. Well, there's something where you could put that $1,200 directly to any of your financial goals and dreams right off the bat, which is going to help you considerably in regards to your budget. So truly watch in regards to these wants. What can you actually do without? Packing a lunch instead of eating out on a daily basis can save you considerable money across the board there. And just truly take note of what you're purchasing. What can you go without? I caught myself on campus probably, well, it's been a year now when I was doing it, but I noted I probably spent like $40 to $50 just in one day through kind of cups of coffee and tea and a lunch. And at the end of the day, I just really, did I need all that stuff? Could I had a cup of water? Could I have done something else? Did I really need 2 or 3 drinks during the day? So really keep an eye out. And I think, a lot of us this year, we've noticed where we can pull back on things. We all haven't been out and about. So really, take note of where you've been able to save during this time over the past year, and utilize that in regards to your budget going forward. So really important to distinguish between those needs and those wants, making sure you're limiting and really taking note of what those wants are, where you're spending that money, and then even on the need basis, making sure, is this item absolutely necessary that I require? An item that I had in my needs category previously was TV cable, and that was something I cut out. I have internet. I really didn't see a need to have cable anymore, so I completely eliminated that, and that has a cost savings in my budget, which is now gone and carried over to other items that I'm looking to save for an additional financial goal. So really important to really define what those needs and wants are within your life. Now, a great rule for our budgeting is to really follow the 50-30-20 rule. This is a fantastic kind of generalized budget in which we truly all need to take a look at where are our own funds going and how we can get them to fit within this model here, because this is truly going to help us in regards to our budgeting and to save in order to achieve our financial goals here. So basically the recommendation is 50% of our income on a monthly basis has to go to our needs. Once again, these are our required living essentials. Then 30% are going to go towards your wants and, making life comfortable for all those additional necessities that you require. But really making sure that we're focusing 20% on savings and putting that towards our financial goals, our savings, or even debt repayment here. Just let me grab a quick glass of water. In regards to savings, this is probably the most important category of 20% that we have for you here. And I like to consider this kind of section of the pie of our budget is truly what I like to call the bank of me. And this happens to be my favorite bank of all of them, because this is the one that directly affects myself. So when I get paid on a monthly basis, my first focus when I'm looking at my budget is to pay that bank of me, to take part of my income and to put that into my savings, in which I'm focused on all my financial goals within that category there. So some neat items and tips that you can do is set up automatic transfers directly when you get paid, or even directly off your paycheck that can go to a savings account. One tip is create multiple savings accounts instead of just one. If you're having a hard time lumping all your goals together, break it out into different accounts. At one point in time, I probably had 5 or 6 savings accounts. I had one as a travel account. I had one kind of for my car account in regards to additional maintenance that would pop up. I had a retirement account. I had a savings account for down payment in regards to home ownership. So really give yourself that ability to, have multiple accounts, note what those accounts are, and then set up automatic transfers so at least you have money going into those accounts. And as I said, that first item when you get paid at the beginning of the month, that first transfer of money should be to the bank of me. And that's the best focus, making sure that money goes directly to your savings there. And then also noting, if you are savings, but you also have some debt and you're focused on paying that debt down, that's a huge financial goal for yourself. So make sure that you're ranking your debt from the highest interest rate to the lowest interest rate, and then start chipping away at that highest interest rate debt first, and then pay it off as it goes down to the lowest interest rate to make sure that you're saving money and saving on your interest rate there. In addition to basically that 20% of savings that you're focused in your budget here, is you truly need to make sure, in addition to the savings, is you have an emergency fund set up. Now, a first, good starting point here is to set up a fund of about $500. You can easily do this by a couple dollars a month. However, where we really want to focus on is truly achieving about a 3 to 6 months of income worth of saved income here for us in our emergency account. This is truly going to help us in regards to situations that will pop up, and that will come in the form of job loss, car repairs, medical emergencies, and home fixes. I can honestly say I've truly been hit with probably every one of these in regards to it. And whether or not I had an emergency fund or not, these items required to be paid. So make sure that you're at least setting aside some money at first to start a small emergency fund, and then really focus on growing that up to the 3 to 6 month level there. Because as I mentioned, once again, life is full of surprises, and these items will pop up. Noting in regards to kind of job loss, it could take you anywhere to 3 to 6 months to get back into the marketplace in regards to working there. So you want to make sure that you have some funds to cover all the necessities and those needs that you have during that timeline. In regards to car repairs, your average bill can run you anywhere between, $500 to $1,000. Medical emergencies, those can creep up, easily into the thousands of dollars right off the bat. And most of us have medical deductibles upwards of $1,000. And then as well, any, whether it's home fixes to your own home or to your rental property, and that's going to come up as well, and you're going to need to make sure that you have money for that. And truly, probably it's, about 6 out of 10 Americans don't have enough savings to cover just these, normal unplanned items here. So really want to make sure within this 20% of your budget, setting aside that money for your financial goals and dreams, that part of that is towards an emergency fund, because it will just be a matter of time when those items pop up, and you do want to be prepared so you're not scrambling within your budget to determine where that savings can come from. Now, in regards to some key points about budgeting here and creating your budgeting. So really want to have a budget in order to determine where your money is going instead of wondering where it went. As we looked at that image at the beginning, pulling out your pockets and just where did all that money go at the end of the month. So we truly want to track our expenses, have an idea of our needs and wants, and look to eliminate those budget busters in regards to that wants category. Where are we frivolously spending our money, and where can we eliminate that and put that towards our financial goals? Because we saw it just in the example of, a cup of coffee each day. By spending $5 every day, we could look to save over $1,000 on an annual basis, and that can go to some of the great financial goals that you have. Really important here, which probably a lot of us don't do, is make sure you're living within your means. This, the 50-30-20 budget really can catch people by shock, because 50%, as we've noted, is for their actual needs. But a lot of people are living anywhere within that budget, typically between 75 or even 60%. And then that's obviously eliminating their personal wants in regards to 30% of their budget, and almost eliminating the 20% of their financial goals for their savings there. So truly be aware and live within your means, and take a look, what your current spending is, and look to fit it within that 50-30-20 budget. And then look to make, your different calculations in where those funds can go. And most importantly, as you're progressing through your life cycles, be aware of lifestyle creeps. As your income is increasing over time, don't spend it all right away. That's an adage I've seen some of my friends have. Oh, fantastic. I got a raise. I got a bonus. Perfect. We're going to go do something fun, something's going to happen. Well, wait a minute, let's think of, some of those key financial goals that you have, and look to at least put half of that money in regards to those items, and then take the other half and put it towards your discretionary income. But truly be aware of that life cycle creep there, because this is where you have an opportunity to fall truly into a deficit. But most importantly, you have the opportunity here to really fall within a surplus of your budget and create more money going to your savings and your financial goals. Next steps, really focusing in regards to creating your budget, is making sure you're setting aside time to do your budget. We talk about it a lot of the time, but you really need to make sure that you're focused, you're doing your budget kind of before payday, anticipating what is going to happen during the month, making sure that you're tracking it regularly across the board. I do my budget, a couple times during the month to take a look at it. First off, before payday, making sure I'm accounting for everything kind of coming in and where everything has got to go out, and making sure I'm aware of what those due dates are and identifying all those amounts. So I truly have a really good idea of what all my expenses are going to be. And then as the month progresses, I'm making sure, I paid all those bills. Well, let's go back. Let's make sure that everything is looking good, because your budget is going to be a constant arrangement of funds, because as we've noted a number of times already, life is life and different items will pop up. So know how much you have left over after you've paid all your bills. That's kind of then within your wants category and your savings. But truly, your savings should have been paid first. As I mentioned, the bank of me, we really want to make sure that we're paying ourselves first. So after all your bills are paid, then it's just making sure that we're focusing on kind of the wants. And then even though your income and expenses, as I previously noted, can change each month, plan where your money is going to be spent. Really know where every dollar goes and adjust accordingly, because we all want to meet these financial goals, and the budget is truly going to give us the ability to do so. Now, some key additional points here in regards to, what can I do in regards to, the budget myself? Well, you can really use, a multitude of items here. You can use, basically a napkin, you can use a notebook, you can use an Excel spreadsheet. That's kind of my favorite because I truly, as we noted in regards to all our categories, I've broken my categories down into multiple line items. I've noted, are they fixed bills or are they variable bills? So I really have a good sense in Excel in which I can manipulate all my line items there. But also right now, there's a ton of latest apps that you can get on your phone that are going to help you in regards to your budgeting. There's a variety out there. So truly, whatever works best for yourself. I really think a lot of the apps out there these days provide you really great snapshots. You don't have to do a lot of the manual work out there. So definitely see what's going to work best for yourself. But the key in regards to making sure your budget is moving forward is, once again, just continually focusing on it. Know where every dollar is going, really focusing on those wants versus needs and where you can tighten up your budget. Now, we've really gone through all the major items in regards to our budget, and I wanted to provide some additional education for you guys, which we have here through the USC Credit Union. This is called our Financial Focus Educational Series here, and we have this directly through our website. You can find it very easily. You can find us directly at usccreditunion.org/students there, and right up in the right-hand side, we have our financial education page there, and it's full of lots of great tips and tricks across the board for you, continuing from budget all the way to all the key major cornerstone pieces in regards to credit, day-to-day banking, identity theft, lots of great information across the board. When you get into it, this is kind of what our online learning modules look like. And we have some great playlists that go over kind of all the basic items that you need to know, financial education, your credit, investing in the future, working within the world, and you can adjust and basically personalize all these playlists together. So lots of great information that you can check out that we have available for you online. This is just an example of one of the playlists that we have here in regards to the basics, but lots of great topics ranging anywhere between 2 to 7 minutes, some interactive video stuff as well here. But we can note, right off the bat within the basics here, creating your budget, the fourth item down, really the cornerstone of financial management here, making sure that you have the ability to achieve your financial goals. And then also, noting the difference between a checking and a savings account. Really important to mention, your checking is truly your transactional account. Your savings account is where you're putting money aside. It's very difficult to utilize all of this in just one account, because if you have money in your checking account, odds are you're going to spend it. So make sure you have at least a savings account. Make sure, as I noted, I have multiple savings accounts. And sometimes I have more or less depending on what my financial goals are. So make sure that you have those accounts set up and that you've set up, an automated transfer. And as we noted earlier, that Bank of Me, you're paying yourself first. So really good items here within these online learning modules in which you can focus on and go greater in depth. Also, we have a great little tool which you can find right next to that on our website there as well, is we have our Student Financial Bootcamp. This is a fantastic resource in which you can sign up, and basically we're going to give you 7 days of essential money topics that are going to put you in the driver's seat of your finances. So lots of great information that we have across the board here for you. Once again, just covering topics like basic banking, budgeting that we've really talked about and covered today, credit building, student loans, sustainable spending, really going back to our budgeting and reviewing what our needs versus our wants are. So lots of great information here. You can sign up directly via our website. That will give you, as I mentioned, 7 days of essential money topic tips there, which you can utilize. So that kind of brings us to the end of our presentation in regards to budgeting. As I mentioned, it's going to range through all life cycles that we're going to go through, making sure that we're aware where our money is going, that we know that we're tracking it. Make sure that you're utilizing your online banking statements, mobile banking, and really going in there and seeing where your money is going. Because I mentioned, it's very easy just to start utilizing your debit card on a daily basis, and you may have no idea what you have in your bank account and where those funds are going. So truly utilize that budget, create it, get it going, break it down into all those different categories, and then that's going to be your action plan for your month and really every month in regards to making sure that you can achieve all these great financial objectives that you have out there. So with that, we'll open it up for questions and we'll go from there.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. So, one of the questions we have is, you mentioned that there's a lot of different apps or, Excel sheets, things like that, to
Mhm.
help with budgeting. Like, are there any specific ones that you would encourage students or ones that you personally like, that you would like to recommend?
Yeah, it's really tough to specifically recommend because there's so many out there in the marketplace right now. Mint's got a really good one. A lot of people are utilizing their app right now. I really like to use an Excel spreadsheet or typically just a workbook or a notebook in regards to that because everybody's budget is going to be a little bit different. Everybody's going to break it out a little bit differently. So truly work what's going to be best for yourself, but there's a ton of apps out there. They all work a little bit differently, so you can get in, just read the summaries, see how people are utilizing them, or just go old school in regards to a notebook. Income in at the beginning of the month, you know exactly what it is, and then list out all those expenses. I find Excel works really good because I can really get detailed in regards to all the different categories. And as I mentioned, make sure that you're tracking what they are variable versus fixed because, as I noted, that air conditioning bill, I still can't get over years later.
Yeah, and then another thing on like apps too. I know some like really if you are the person that's gonna really use an app, I know I've been playing around with like which ones are free or which ones, cost money and things like that. So just pay attention to what you're looking through to see what the capabilities are for sure. And I'm sure like, I think like Google, excuse me, like Google Sheets and like Excel even has like a template as a too. So I personally haven't
Absolutely.
played around with it, but if that's something that's a good starting point, I think that's good too.
Yeah, no question there. That's a great idea. And make sure you shouldn't have to pay for these services
Mhm.
for most apps. So if there is a cost involved, make sure you're understanding what that cost is truly for, because a lot of these should be free for your use.
Awesome, cool. So another question we have is kind of looking at the differences between like emergency accounts and saving accounts. So the
Mhm.
question itself is it important to have an emergency account that is separate from your overall savings account?
Yeah, absolutely. And I really know, almost break these up into different categories of accounts because one account, if it has a couple $100s, a couple $1,000, you may not have then a piece of paper that breaks down where all that money has to go. So I really like it for my own kind of peace of mind is, at one point I think it was about 6 or 7 different savings accounts. One was specifically an emergency account. That was the kind of do not touch account. Make sure there's always money going in, and sooner or later that's where I'm going to go. But then, I had other accounts. I had accounts specifically just for vacations, making sure I was just dumping a little bit of money into that each month for my home ownership in regards to saving for my down payment. That was a big account I had for a number of years, making sure I was constantly putting money in there because, if an emergency came up, I wanted to make sure I was going to my emergency account. I didn't want to be dipping into other accounts that I had because then that was going to negate those financial goals there. So I really suggest almost, having multiple accounts if you can't keep track of everything in one account, because really then it's just a deposit and forget about it. And it's there when you're going to need it. So I really stress on noting if you can't kind of manually budget everything in one account, have multiple accounts and have several accounts because you're going to have several financial goals.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, and I think like one thing I do, for example, I'm able to allocate a certain amount of my paycheck from like direct deposit to like go
Hmm.
into one of my accounts that I know for sure is gonna always be kind of like my savings or like emergency
Yes.
fund, as well. So that's something that
That's a really great option. I know a lot of people, when setting up direct deposit, sometimes their employer can split their pay between a variety of accounts, and that is a great tool to utilize. Have the majority of your money going to your checking account, but split off that 20% or some amount there. In regards to once again that bank of me, that account that's going to just that money's going to go directly into it, and you're not going to know about it because you've set it up automatically. So you're more going to be focusing on budgeting of what's going into your checking account, knowing that that money is automatically going into your savings account, which is a great tool.
Awesome. Cool. So another question we have is, what are common mistakes with budgeting that college students make?
Yeah, that is a great question. And probably the biggest mistake is just starting and then forgetting about it. The true key with budgeting is just continuous focus on this and patience, because it's not going to work out perfectly the first time that you do it. The first couple times is likely going to be a shock. Really, that first time in regards to tracking all your expenses first, just on a monthly basis, know where all your items are going, and then, truly, where should they be going? That will be a truly eye-opening experience sometimes if you don't have a true sense of where every dollar is going. There can be lots of money saved through this, process of really looking at your budget, where every dollar is going. So the trick is just, be patient, continuously look at doing it, the beginning of the month, the middle of the month, at the end of the month. As an example, I'm probably in my month almost probably on a weekly basis. Every weekend, I just go in, I want to know where all my money is. It's my favorite item there. It's my wife makes fun of me quite a bit, but I call it my Scrooge McDuck phase. I sit down at my computer, typically Saturday morning with a cup of coffee, and I just start counting where all the money is. So I think that's probably the biggest mistake, is people, start with it, they forget about it, they get frustrated because, their budget didn't work out this month. So, well, let's just toss it out. I'll figure it out. Well, no, you have to really stick to that piece of paper. You got to stick to your budget. Where is that money going? And sometimes, as a great example, is put your debit card, put your credit card away. Try to budget yourself on living on cash for an entire week. That will change your perspective in regards to your budget quite a bit, because you'll truly be counting every single dollar that you have.
Yeah, and I think another thing too, kind of to your point earlier, how there's like so many different ways to track your budget too, is like don't be afraid to try the different ways. I feel like I go through that when I'm like trying to figure out like the best way to have an agenda or a planner. It's like, do I want something that I can write? Do I want something that I use an app for? So definitely kind of like see what caters to like your learning style and your
Yeah.
ability to just stick with it as well.
Absolutely. And that key is, just stick with it, because from, one month you're going to be in a deficit. The next month you could be in a surplus. The next month you could be back to a deficit. Then you could have a month or two of surpluses. So you're always going to be juggling your budget around and making sure that that money is in those categories of where you need it to go. So just be patient, stick with it, and really analyzing those needs versus wants. Really start with the wants first, try to limit those down, and then move over to your needs section. Is really everything that you have noted there, is that an absolute necessity? As I noted previously, I had my cable television bill under my needs list. Well, it actually wasn't that big of a need. I have internet. I can get basically everything directly through my computer. So it was a great cost savings that I was able to establish right there by just reviewing my budget and actually questioning myself. Well, is this truly a need that I have?
Awesome. Cool. So we have another question.
Great.
So this one says, how will investment in stocks and shares be considered, either as savings or personal spending?
Yeah, truly in regards to probably more savings, because these are items, these are long-term investments here that you're looking at. This isn't, a play on the short term here. This is something over time. So truly that's a piece of your 20% savings. You're the bank of me, you're paying yourself right off the bat. So that's going to go more towards your investment retirement, over a long period of time in regards to savings. So really important for that to be a piece of that 20%. And, as I mentioned, that 20% can be a whole bunch of different items there, but these are going to be a range of all your financial goals over your lifetime. So, a piece for your retirement and saving there, and making sure you're saving as early as possible, because it's all about the time value of money. Money today is not going to be the same value tomorrow due to the interest that you can receive off of that. So saving as early as possible and making sure that you have all those different savings, vehicles set up. So you have your emergency fund, you have, one for your long-term play investments, one for, home ownership, for a car down payment, all of these items that are going to come up across the board. That's a fantastic question.
Awesome. So we have another question in regards to multiple savings accounts. So
Mhm.
how can you open up multiple savings accounts? Do you need to open them with different banks?
No, primarily you can open those all up with the same institution. They're just additional savings accounts on top of the one that you already have. So it really helps me in regards to, when I go to my savings account, it's just not one account where there's a bunch of money in, and then I have a piece of paper telling me, oh my gosh, $100 goes here, $100 goes here, and $50 goes there. You can really just know exactly, boom, there's my, account for saving for my first home. Here's my account for saving for a car. Here's my vacation account, my emergency account, and so forth. So you can open these all up with one institution. You can have, different financial institutions. The trouble sometimes when people go with multiple financial institutions is they lose track of who they're dealing with, and that can be important sometimes. So look to consolidate everything, together with one solid point. So when I log into my online banking, I see all my major accounts that I have with my one financial institution. I have, some accounts elsewhere, but they're more secondary accounts, and I primarily don't use them as much, and therefore they're not top of mind. So really, being able to log and see everything in one place where you know where all those items are is extremely important.
Awesome. Thank you. And then one of our last questions is, do you recommend any brokerage accounts to speak with to start investing?
Don't have any recommendations right off the bat. You definitely want to do a lot of homework in regards to that. Always, when looking at investing, this is going to be a long-term play. Typically when you start, your minimum is looking at 3 to 5 years, and then a much longer time horizon from there because of the volatility that can be within those investment accounts. So truly, probably some of the major ones, look for low fee structures out there, but really need to kind of do your own homework in regards to what are the best options, because there's a variety of options out there. But, once again, just be aware of what those fee structures are. What are they offering versus the competition?
Cool. Thank you. Does anyone else have any other questions? Those are all the ones that came in through the chat or the Q&A, but feel free to keep them coming. We still had some time.
Absolutely. Yeah, those are some fantastic questions. That's awesome.
Um, Ryan, when would you say was when you started like really budgeting, like being serious about budgeting? And I feel like you might have gone over this, but
No, that's a great question. Well, it almost happens every month. But I would say truly it was in university when really looking at this and starting to get serious. When I was preparation for graduation, starting to look at employment. Where does the money go? How do I start paying for university that I've just gone through? That was kind of really my big wake up call. And in regards to that, actually, one of the stories that I've told a lot of people previously is when doing that, I was then taking a look at, what are the products and services that I'm utilizing for my finances. And I looked at my bank account, and it didn't have it set up as a student bank account while I went to university. So I basically threw away $8 every month over a 4-year period. Right there was a shock of going, had I just, spent time and focused on this and actually created a budget and started looking at, what are my needs versus my wants, this was just me throwing stupid money away. There was no need for it. All I needed to do was be aware of what the products and services I had and just request my account be coded as a student account. Most of us get our bank accounts, through our parents when we're extremely young, and we just run through it. We all, oh, we have a debit card, it works, that's great, let's just, move on. will truly be aware of the cost, the benefits, and features of your financial institution in regards to your checking account and your savings account, and really take advantage of all those options in which you can bank fee free. And there's a ton out there. So utilize. That was a big wake up call for me when it was just like, well, there's hundreds of dollars I literally just wasted over the last 4 years, which I could have used that today. It could have gone to something else. So just be aware, and start almost before you even jump into your budget, just start tracking what your expenses are. And even just by tracking that, you're going to go, well, did I really need to do that? I've even found myself going in for lunch and going, oh, I want a nice tea. Oh no, I'll just have a glass of water. Like, really, do I need to spend $3 to $4 on that? So really take note of where that money is going. And as I mentioned over and over, this is just a continuous process here. You will never stop focusing on your budgeting. This is the most important item in regards to financial empowerment, to really alleviate some of that stress and burden on yourself. So at the end of the month, you're not just pulling strings out of the air of where is this money going to come from. So it's all about being prepared and having that plan. So that's once again just another great question.
Awesome. Cool. I think those are all the questions that we have. So I think we can definitely close out this session for sure. So let me just go ahead and stop recording.